copy from the table. We're going to just open it up and look down and look at the meeting outline. And we'll try to stay as close to the outline as possible. At 6:30, of course, we're doing a welcoming and a networking. We kind of had a full meal for you tonight. And so I know you had a chance to at least communicate with those around the table where you are. Of course, we had to sign in and the handout passed out for the most part. And so at 6:45, which is a few minutes from now, we'll get back to the open remarks and kind of flow from there. But I want you to know this is a great night. We thank God for all of you here. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Walter August Jr. I am the senior pastor of our church here. And we have been anticipating this night for the last few months. Been working extremely hard. Tonight you're going to be we're going to introduce to you our team, whether it's dealing with the engineering, the architect firm, those who are working with construction, and even the landscape individuals who are handling that part of the assignment. Kirk Hutchison should be here in just a little bit, but as you know, the Houston traffic kind of stalled him a little bit, but he should be here shortly, and he will definitely take us from stage one all the way to turning the keys in and getting that building occupied. We should have individuals speaking to us also when it comes down to our legal team, our attorney who's been working behind the scenes to get all of the documentations set up, all of the nonprofits and the entities, even the LLC, so that everything is above board. So when you are investing, you're investing not only with confidence, but also with the integrity of the whole large format for the one place at Fonmeadow. We will have individuals here from TDECU, which is our banking team that is making that verbal commitment to come in and finance the majority of the construction piece. This is a $49 million project that we're working on. And for those who are new to the Fonda and Southwest side of our city, this is where we do our church service. We've been in this community for the last 31 years. This church was started with 11 people in 1994. And as of 2025, there's just a tad bit over 14,000 families of people that attend this ministry. This ministry is not just a community ministry. This ministry is also global. It touched the world with the opportunities that we do get, whether we are actually, matter of fact, leading the team in a couple of months back to Kenya, Africa, bringing doctors and nurses and dentists to begin to serve those families there. Also in the country of Angola, where we've been working for the last few years, bringing English as a second language to that country. And again, providing any opportunities, whether it's smaller projects going to Belize to do construction projects for them, any area that God opens up a door. We believe personally that the church should set on two pillars, the Great Commandment and the Great Commission. The Great Commandment tells us that we got to love God with our everything and then love our neighbor as we love ourselves. These are the foundational principles of the body of Christ. And then the Great Commission. The Great Commission don't just leave us here in this Fonda and Southwest Houston community, but also we got to go outside of these particular doors in community and state and nation and touch the world with the gospel of Christ and the love that God provides. With that said, this church in 31 years, we have a footprint of about 24 acres of property that we have within the sector across the street and also diagonally. When it comes down to serving this community, we have the #1 food pantry satellite from the Houston Food Bank, and it became such an overwhelming task that we had to move them out of our current building here, and we leased 15,000 square foot of space on Fondren to make sure nobody go to bed hungry. And over 17,000 people eat from that pantry each and every month. And that's a tremendous blessing and testimony that nobody should go to bed hungry. But besides preaching the gospel, but we also have to begin to look at this community as a whole. We were sharing earlier, when we started this church was started in an apartment complex just down the road with 11 people. And when we got to that apartment complex, of course, at that time, it was the worst apartment complex on this side in Houston when it came down to crime. And my wife and I shared with her that people who lived here, something is definitely wrong with them, especially if they're paying rent. Crime was high. Anything that you would look for that either Satan was selling or giving away, you would have found it in the apartment complex. But this is where God sent us to build a church called Bethel's Family. And so it's a testament that we're going right back in and looking at bringing another level of upscale multi-housing development. The majority of all of these apartments around us, they are 45 years plus in age, and they've changed hands of owners many times. So tonight, this investment piece is to build a brand new multi-housing upscale property, 250 units, to begin to lift up the countenance of the people in this community. It's going to be not only a ground-shaking moment for the Fonda and Southwest area of our city, but it will also spur on what is the next adventure, what is the next step. So for those who are on this journey with us, this is only one project that we're going to work with. The final thing that I will say is this. I know a lot of individuals get involved with spearheading these type of opportunities, and especially when it's launched from a spiritual-based foundation. It's only 2 or 3 people, maybe 4 or 5 people, that are able to invest in properties like these. So once things are completed and the building is occupied, and the profits are only shared between 3 and 4 families. I don't believe that's the model that we need to actually deploy. This model here is for anybody who so chooses to get involved in this development. I believe streams of income, extra income, would definitely warrant itself when it comes down to you and your family. So you've been invited to the table to be a part of something that can be a blessing to your family for generations to come. We're not, thank you. This is not about 1 or 2 families getting extremely wealthy and everybody around us stay poor. So I want to thank all of you for having a heart to be here. For those who've come for the first time, you're just hearing about it, you were invited to come, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, and tonight's going to be a great night. So Kirk, you'll be ready in a couple minutes? Need access. Steve, are you around? And if you don't need the access to the computer, everybody have that presentation you laid out. They have it at the table, so you can definitely go from page to page if you like. But let me do this. Let me just share the story. Kirk Hutchison and I know your lovely wife came in. I saw her earlier. Oh, there she is. I had the privilege some years ago, Sister August and I met Sister Hutchison as we were looking at a different property. But I guess the relationship of business kind of stayed with them. So when she and Kirk decided to get married, they gave me a call and see if I would be willing to go and marry them. Of course, I said yes, and so I think it was Fort Myers? Same area. That's where I flew into Fort Myers. And I married them. How many years ago was that? 2015? Okay. Well, I went and married them, and we were talking about multi-housing development even when he picked me up at the airport, about something that God had laid in his heart to actually bring to our community. And that was before I even married them. almost 10 years ago. And so now it is coming to fruition. And I'm excited to have you join us in this journey. But I'm going to go ahead and yield, and I'm going to bring up Kirk, and he will introduce our team. But I do want to introduce personally Ms. Whitley. Ms. Laura, thank you so much with TDECU for being with us. They have been a partner with Bethel's Place, Bethel's family for a few years now. So thank you so much for joining us. Kirk, when you're ready, you can come on, sir. And anybody that don't have a sheet, please let us know. We'll be glad to get one for you. And if you didn't get a chance to eat, please know you can still go back in line and get you a great meal. Hey, Steve, it's on the screen. It's on the screen, but it's up there.
Yeah, I can't see that far.
So just let me know here strong.
Okay. First of all, sorry for my tardiness. Trying to get from downtown Houston here is just not, it just wasn't quick. So I do apologize for that. So I think most of you have been on the calls, sometimes weekly calls, sometimes bi-weekly calls. So I don't want to bore you guys with some of the minutiae details. We'll have a Q&A session at the end, and you guys are more than welcome to ask questions and so forth. But looks like we lost audio. But the purpose for this.
Can we go ahead and let everybody know that's online? Just go ahead and mute yourself. I'm sorry, Kurt. Go ahead on.
It's okay. That's okay. I'm late. So the purpose for this get-together is to have an official kickoff for the One Place project. Most of the folks in this room, we've been on calls, been on Zoom calls, but I don't believe we're formally met in person. I've been a member, my wife and I have been a member of this church for a while, and I probably know a handful of people personally here. But I think what Pastor is trying to do here is a great thing. He's very passionate about it, and I'm trying my best to do my part. So with that said, I mean, we have a long way to go, but we've started, and to me, the first step is get something started, just seeing it through the end. But I think it's a wonderful project. I personally am vested in this project, and like everybody here, whether it's on the design side or whether it's on the equity side, we're all vested. So it's important for us to, I guess, get to know each other, who we are, and see like-minded people and understand what the goal is. And I believe at the end of the day, this is going to be a good thing for the church. It's going to help with a lot of the social programs, a lot of things that the church is trying to do. At the end of the day, it's kind of relieve, I believe, some of the trying to get people to donate on a regular basis when we'll have a stream of income coming in from the multifamily project. So I honestly believe it's a good thing. I believe what Pastor's trying to do, and I still remember back, I think it was last August when August or September, when I met him in his office, and we talked about this project. And since then, we've moved forward. We have not stopped. We don't have all the funds in place, but that has not prevented us from moving forward. We're hopeful that TDECU, I saw Whitney earlier, that they're going to come in and be a partner in this project. I think we should get there somehow. And again, at the end of the day, it's not a done deal yet. We still have a gap in the equity portion that I am trying to cover that gap with some separate investors. But we're just not there yet, but we will get there. The goal is to start this project no later than first quarter of next year. And one way or the other, it's going to happen. And I honestly believe that. And, with that said, some of you, I'm not sure how many of you have been on these calls and how many of you know the background of this project, but I'll give you a brief overview. And again, if you have questions, you're more than welcome to ask at the end. But with that said, the project will be located in a church's complex here of Fonmeadow. I'm sorry, not Fonmeadow. It's Sandpiper. So we're going to just break off a piece of the where the current park is. We're going to break off a piece of that area and build the multifamily. It's going to be 250 units, 2 buildings, 4-story. Each building will have an elevator. The lease center, the clubhouse, will be in the first building. We'll have all surface parking. I have a pool courtyard. We're going to maximize every square inch of this property and make the best of it. We'll have a total of 250 units. I think, Janet, we have, 8 different floor types, something like that? 6? Okay. We'll have a few. We'll try to minimize how many floor types we have, or unit types. We're not required, but we will have some handicap compatible units, based on the area. So this area has not seen a new multifamily project in over 50 years. It's due for a multifamily project. The rents in this area right now, what we have in a performer is very conservative, and so there's room for rent growth. It's 250 units. I believe this thing will lease up pretty quickly. The overall, we're looking at probably a 2-year construction period. So right now we're in year 1. Year 1 is the design, the permitting phase. Year 2 we'll start construction, and at the end of the day, we'll have about a year to lease this thing up to 95% at a minimum. So it's a 4-year, and I believe you guys have heard me mention it's a 4-year investment period, 4 years. Right now we're in year number 1. So, just know that it's 4 years. A lot of folks in this room, again, you understand that we have continued the process, we're continuing to design, and I don't think we have taken a cent from anyone in this room. But again, we're very passionate about this project. And it's going to happen, and so we'll continue moving the process. The amenity area is about 6,000 square feet. I wish I could show it.
They have it in front of them.
Okay. It's about 6,000 square feet. I think Cecilia is here somewhere. So Cecilia back there is the interior designer, and I don't know if you want to kind of share your vision. I know I owe you some information, but. I'll promise you that I'll get it to you. But Cecilia is a very experienced interior designer. You want to say something? She's a very experienced interior designer, and have all the confidence that at the end of the day, you're all going to be very proud of what you guys will see when it's all said and done. We'll have a fitness center. Look kind of big, but we have a Luxor storage area, parcel lockers. And most people, they get their whether it's Amazon packages and so forth delivered to the amenity area. So we'll have 6,000 square feet for this type of project, 250 units. I think it's very is very reasonable. Well, we'll have courtyard number 1, which is the pool courtyard. I think at the end of the day, George is doing an awesome job on the design, and it looks amazing, at least on paper. So we'll see the finished product at the end of the day. This is the design team. George is the landscaper. Janet is the lead architect on the project, and I've known her for a long time. And again, very, very capable people, whether it's Cecilia back there or Janet's team. So I think at the end of the day, you're getting a very experienced design team. If the product's going to look good, some of the photos back here, just sample photos, you can see. Janet, and I do apologize, I didn't see the latest presentation until a couple hours ago. It didn't include the common areas. But there's some renderings here, or some photos in the back that kind of give you an idea what this project will look like at the end of the day. So don't be alarmed, don't be scared. It's a process, and the process already started. We'll get there, and when we'll have that final turnover and pastor's blessing at the end of the day, I'm sure you all guys going to be very proud of the product that we turn over. Janet, I don't know if you want to say a few things about the design itself, the process. What's that?
Yeah, my name is Keith Carlson. I'm the president of MCS Architects, and we're honored to be the architect chosen for your project. We think it's going to be great. The construction team, our team here today is Jeanette has been the lead designer, Kirk mentioned, Frank Sisler. Our MEP engineer is Peter Wynn. Century Engineering is our civil engineer. George Woodruff is landscape. And that's basically our team. We've worked all together a long time. So we're really excited about this project. As he's saying, it's going to be a great boon to the community, I think. It kind of wraps around the basketball court, across the street, and then down toward the academy. So I think everything you see in the brochure, we have a presentation that Jeanette can go through and give you the details. It's like 108 one-bedroom units, 86 two-bedroom, only 8 three-bedroom. We don't do many of those. There's 40 studios. 2 buildings, as Kirk said. One wraps around a pool. The other has a pickleball court, which everybody has these days, and some amenity areas. So we think it's going to be a great project. Jeanette, why don't you get up? Jeanette's been kind of the lead designer on this project. She may have a few words to say also. She's also very tired. She's just maybe in a 14-hour flight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeanette Luminiado, and I'm with MCS Architects. And like Kirk mentioned, we've known each other for a while. We've fixed some challenges together. That's how we know how we work together. So this project is a very special project. I've been involved personally with the school before. There were some permitting problems. I don't know, Pastor, if you remember that. I worked with Deacon Clark Booker. Is he here tonight?
He's back there someplace.
Okay. There you are. So when I heard that the church is doing something very special, I was very honored to take the call from Kirk, because our firm, we specialize in hospitality, apartments, and a few other things. And what we bring to the table is a design that is geared towards hotels. So we bring in a good flow in design versus what you normally see in apartments. So we know what amenities we put in, how they efficiently work together and flow together. So in this project, what we wanted was an evenly distributed set of amenities that cater to families, to older families, so basically, and single people, so it's for everybody. This project has 2 pool courtyards. I think if you look at the presentation that you have on hand, so on this page, you'll see the pool courtyard right there on building 1. So when you're in the amenity area and in the leasing area, you actually see the pool, so it's all together. So you can use the fitness, you can use the club room, you can use the business center, and have a good view of the pool. The second courtyard, which is on this side, on the second building, is basically the recreational courtyard, which has the pickleball court and a gazebo, a huge gazebo, and playground, 2 sets of playground for kids. That's why we call it the recreational courtyard. Now there's a blow up of the pool courtyard here with the big gazebo, and there's a grill in that gazebo for barbecuing while your family is swimming in the pool. And then this is also the blow up of the recreational courtyard. So you see the pickleball court there in a bigger scale. And then the gazebo, and there's also 2 sets of grill here with the playground. These are George Woodward's design, by the way. And then on this page, you'll see the aerial view of the whole development. You'll see this side on the left is Sandpiper, and there's another exit that goes towards Fairmont Street. The parking is designed to where it's close to, you have parking that's always close to every side of the building. And the buildings are laid out to where it's a U shape. So that way it encloses the courtyard and it gives it a good ventilation. Because these have open corridors, these buildings have open corridors. So they're designed to maximize the view. So you see a more open area where the parking is. And then on the inner portion, you see the courtyard. So I love the idea of being in your unit and you see that your kids are playing there. Yeah, they're right there and you see them. And you can hang out on the gazebo. There's a covered area. Talking about the design of the building, we really wanted to create a design that's timeless and contemporary. So we're not going with the super colorful type of architecture because we don't want it to be a trend, but rather something that would last for a very long time. We added in a splash of color inside the balconies, so we're incorporating the churches and our logo, which is the blues. So we're putting those colors inside the balcony so that it gives it a pop of color. On the next page, this is a little blow up that shows how we accentuate the club and the leasing area. We have a big canopy here and we actually have a stone finish so that it makes it a focal point. So when you enter, you know that this is where I'm going. This is where the visitors go. This is where inquiries go. And the whole idea is that as soon as you get in, you capture the client. That's why it's all there in building 1. You enter, you talk to the leasing agent, and you see all the amenities that the development offers, and you see the pool right there. And then we also included the 6 types of units that I mentioned earlier. It ranges from the studio units, 2-bedroom, 2-bedroom corner, 1-bedroom, and a 3-bedroom. I think we have a variation of inside corner for the 2-bedroom and an outside corner for the 2-bedroom. The units are designed to have the market's preference to date. So they want eat-in kitchen, they want open kitchen layout, they want spacious bathrooms, they want a generous closet. So that's everything that we put in these units. And I think that sets it apart from the development around us. And these are some intent images that we put together, kind of giving it an idea on what you'll expect the amenities to look like. And I don't want to speak for Cecilia. Where is Cecilia? There you are. So I think the idea is to have a more of the warm tones. Is that right, Cecilia? Contemporary, minimalist, but well-decorated space. I think I have a more updated one here. Okay. Looks like this. And we're happy to leave these sets there at the front so that you can take a look at them in bigger scale. Then we also have some pictures of the units that show what I was referring to when I say, an eat-in kitchen, spacious bedrooms and bathrooms, and all that. So overall, we are very excited to be working on this project. Right now, we are in the design development phase. We're expecting to go into our first submission for permit in, our first submission for permit is on May 17th, so about a month and a half from now. And then the permitting process in City of Houston, we're estimating that to be about 3 months. So from May, June, July, August, by August, we're expecting the project to be permitted and ready to go. Right, Kirk? We're trying. We'll try our best. Well, thank you all so much. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.
And if you don't mind, I don't want to stall, but if you get your questions and write them down, we'll come by and grab them so we can address them all at one time. That'll be easy so we can keep the night flowing.
Yeah. So again, guys, I apologize. Before I left the office, I saw the email and I just didn't get a chance to update the presentation. So I think, Barry, the most exciting thing that I'm looking forward to is a detention pond with a park around it. So we'll have a walking trail around the detention pond. It's going to be a wet pond, so we'll have something of a feature in a pond with a walking trail around it that George is going to make it look pretty, and Barry's going to make it functional. So moving forward on the market study for this area. There's going to be about maybe 3,800 new renters here in the next 5 years. Of that amount, probably close to 50+% will be able to afford this property. And in the packet, kind of shows some comparable apartments. And as you can see, our rent is $1.71 per foot. And there will be room for growth by the time we start leasing. So our current performer is based on a very conservative rate, a unit rate for rental. So again, there's still strong demand in this area. You're going to get people that will work in this area, maybe around the area, in the Westchase District, the medical center, and so forth. folks making $65,000 to $100,000 per year. So, we're hoping that before we, thank you. Before we, we turn over the final key, this project will be fully leased up. And I'm hoping that we'll have a long list of folks, putting their name on a list wanting to rent one of these apartments. And again, from a personal point, this is something I believe in, and the pastor believes in it. So I want to see it flourish. I want to see this community, take advantage of it. So I'm hoping that we'll have a long list of folks wanting to rent. And again, I've said this many times: you can't go to the pastor and ask for a discount on the rent. It's complete separation. This is a standalone project. It's a standalone development. The church is affiliated, but it's just standalone. So just want to be clear about that. There's in this area. So I looked at the option of going with HUD on this project, and. And just talking to the HUD consultant, there is such a need for apartment communities in the Houston area and surrounding areas. There's just not enough. Even for building, 3,000, 4,000 units here, it still wouldn't satisfy the need. And as people are forced to, people can't afford down payments for homes and so forth, they're forced to live in an apartment community. There's nothing wrong with an apartment community. There's absolutely nothing. And, I don't like to refer to them as apartments. I like to refer them to as homes because it's someone's home. I build, that's what I do, for a living. I build apartments. But it's someone's home. So I think there's a need. I think what we're trying to do here is just a good thing. The rent projections at $1.71. I think at the end of the day, we're going to see within the first, maybe 60 days or so, that there's going to be such a strong need that we may have to increase it. But I think at the end of the day, we will get to the stabilization period pretty quickly. The total development cost is approximately $49 million, and I'm sure you guys have heard me say that many times. And initially, when I put together the pro forma, we were looking at about 55% on the debt side. Since then, I've talked to HUD and also conversation with Laura and Brian with TDECU. TDECU was able to up the debt portion, hopefully up to 80%, I hope, Laura, at the end of the day. But right now, it's somewhere between 75 and 80, which reduces the equity portion, which reduces the amount of money that we have to raise substantially. So, where we are right now, the senior debt will be most likely with TDECU. We still have to raise the rest of the equity portion, and I think we're almost 50% there. To date, I believe, Dana, we have raised about $3.4 million for equity. So that's just commitments. Again, we haven't taken a single penny from anyone in this room. It's just commitments. So we're 3.4. The structure with the church and the multifamily development with one place. The church's contribution will be the land. So, that is a way to convey some sort of proceeds back to the church. So it's going to be a 100-year lease for the space for almost 7 acres. So the church is going to lease the 6 3/4 acres to the multifamily development. And it's going to be for 100 years, so there's no question about it. 100 years, no questions about it. So that's the way that the church will benefit, because that's the church's contribution. So instead of the church selling the land and we have to put up the funds at the end of the day, we're not doing that. We're just going to lease, the churches will lease the land to one place. So that is the relationship. So just want to be very, very clear about it. So the value of the land itself is about $800,000, maybe more. So, with the cash that the commitments in hand, plus the value of the land, so we're over $4 million already. And if we can get up to the 80% mark, then, we're halfway there. So, halfway there, and I'm talking to some folks that I'm hoping will fill the gap. But by the way, Yoni flew to New York, or actually he's flying to New York tomorrow, so he wants to meet next week.
Okay.
So we'll. I think we're there. The owner of the company I work for may be the one that filled the gap. So we're supposed to meet with him last week, but something came up, and we're going to try to reconvene next week. The return on the investment is, basically it's 83 cents for every dollar. So every dollar you put up is 83 cents. The holding period is 4 years. And I'm very clear about it. It's 4 years. So your money will be tied up for 4 years. There's no after 3 years coming back and say, hey, I need to get my money back. It's not going to work. It's 4 years commitment minimum. So I put here a sample. If you invest $10,000, the return after the 4 years, if you decide to cash out, is $8,300. It's 83 cents on the dollar. So I just want to be very, very clear about it. The exit after the 4-year period, we're going to recap, and most likely we're going to recap with HUD. Because if we go that route, then we're not putting up a big down payment, so we don't have to raise a bunch of money to recap. So that's the plan right now, just to recap with HUD. All the investors who wants to get out after the 4-year period can exit the project, and the folks who wants to stay in, more than happy to stay in. And I think the return, if you stay in as an owner, I think it's about 6.5%, which will be paid out quarterly. I have no desire in pulling my money out, and I'm sure the pastor has no desire pulling his money out either. So we'll stay in and benefit from it. It's real estate. Real estate only appreciates. Very rarely you come across real estate that loses its value. So, and again, after 4 years, if you want to exit the deal, by all means. The investment process, and again, I know most of you guys probably already gone through the process. If you have an interest, and I think there's 2 people that I owe some information, I need to respond to those folks. If you have an interest, express an interest, by all means, reach out to myself or the pastor, or Dana. And just, tell us that you're interested. Whatever information you may request, we're more than happy to send it over to you. The next step is to pledge your commitment. We have to set a limit, or actually not a limit, but a minimum. So the minimum is $10,000 if you want to be an investor. $10,000, that is the minimum. There's no maximum. So if you want to come in for $5 million to fill the gap, by all means. But as it is right now, there's no maximum. You pledge your commitment, and we'll get you the information that you need. The contributions, we still haven't established a date when the country.
I want to put the attorney on when you get a chance.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in a few. The attorney will cover the legal aspect of the deal and the updates. So far we've been kind of weekly, bi-weekly, talking about where we are with progress and so forth. What else? The return, as I said, it's a 4-year commitment. Key milestones. I think Janet covered some of the design and the permitting. I've been telling folks that we're going to go for permit in mid-summer. If you say May, then that's okay. So as it is right now, I was thinking midsummer, but if it's earlier, that's fine. Closing, I'm thinking that we're going to close on our loan sometime late this year. And hopefully, we close today. Well, I want to start construction the next day. So worst case scenario, we'll start first quarter of next year, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But the plan is as soon as we close, we don't want to waste time, because once we close, the clock starts with the bank. So if their loan period is 27 months or 24 months, what's your loan period? 24 or 18? 18 months, right? Okay. So the bank, their loan period is 18 months. So the day that we close, we got to start pushing dirt the next day. So at the end of the day, we're not asking for extension on our loan period. So Michelle wants to.
Well, family, by now you pretty much have a clear understanding of suppose design, the building, the timetable, what the total landscape would look like as well. But also one of the things that we had to be very diligent about is that when it comes down to the security and safety and integrity of your money, our attorney is Michelle Taylor, and she has been with us in the beginning, and we have taken every measure so far as accountability is concerned to make sure before we take anyone's money and place it anywhere, we wanted to make sure we have dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, because your investment dollars are critical and important. And one of the things I've learned a long time ago, you don't play with folks' money. Amen? Because nobody wants their money played with. And besides, the Lord has not called me to do any prison ministry. And so I have our attorney online. Now, Ms. Michelle, attorney, are you able to hear now on Zoom?
I cannot hear on Zoom, Pastor. I can only hear from the phone.
Okay, now can you come live on my phone?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can they hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so good evening, everyone. And as the pastor said, we have been working diligently to get everything together. And so we're working behind the scenes, but things are definitely happening. So I just want to welcome everyone and know that this is an opportunity, a great opportunity. It's definitely needed, and it's an opportunity to come in and learn more about this whole process. But what we're doing, and I say the legal side, we are forming the entities. We're drafting all of the operating agreements. We're making sure everything comes together so that the funds can be taken and put into the specific account that's designated for the entity. So just to kind of give you a little overview, we have created 3 entities. One is the nonprofit, and the objective of the nonprofit is to be able to maybe get grants or federal funding, and that will be under a 501(c)(3) when we're done. But currently we have it under the Texas nonprofit. So you have to form that first, and then you go to the next level. Then we have One Place Property Group, and then we have One Place Agape Management, and these are both LLCs. Now, the objective of the first LLC is to be able to take investors' funds. So that will be everyone who will put their funds into this project will be considered members, because you're putting in your funds at this level. Now, the Agape, One Place Agape, will manage the One Place Property Group, if that makes sense. So, and so it's just, again, insulating and making sure we have the proper structure. And the most important thing that I want you all to know is that there is a disclosure. So everything that we've been talking about, it will be finalized in the disclosure. And so that disclosure is so important, because we want you to be able to review it, to look at it, and then you'll be signing it to say that I reviewed it, I've gone to whoever I need to go to make sure I understand it. And so once you sign it, it's saying that you understand what you're getting into. Again, as the pastor remarked earlier, it's important when you're taking other people's money to make sure everything is done properly. and so that and everybody understands what they're doing. So that's why we're taking a little bit more time, but it's important to take it on this point so that on the other side we don't have to worry about it. So at this point, we're getting it together. We're hoping sometime, maybe this month, if not sooner, that we can be able to have the accounts open and the funds can be deposited. I'm going to be working with the bank as well, because I think it should be wires. And if people don't want to do a wire, they can do maybe a certified check. But we have to make sure that the funds are properly noted on the account once that's open. But we do have the 3 entities have been formed. We're working on the operating agreements now. Matter of fact, I have them in my inbox to look at to kind of go over a couple of things, and I'm drafting one myself. So we're getting it together. It's coming together, but it definitely takes time. But I prefer to make sure that, you have everything that you need so that when everything starts running, as Kurt mentioned earlier, this is a process. And once you get one thing going, then the next thing you have the plans, you have, the loan closing, you have so many things that come together. So I just hope and pray that everyone understands that it's a process. We're getting it together, but it's definitely coming together. And I see the light at the end of the tunnel. So congratulations to all who have decided to invest, and we look forward to working with you as well.
Thank you so much, Attorney Taylor. And she is in San Antonio. That's where she works out of on the weekly basis. That's why she's not here in person. But one of the things that I wanted to make sure, she do have 2 entities already set up, and we want to make sure by hopefully next week you would receive in our next Zoom gathering, which will not be until next week on next Thursday. I'm praying that all of these things will be done, and then you would get an opportunity to get an email of all the things that you need to do personally to go ahead and do your private investment numbers. Kirk said earlier we would just, if we add the land pieces, be about $4 million. So we're looking at another probably $5 to $6 million worth of investment. The good thing, Kirk, is that we have probably about 30 people in here who have not invested yet, and that's a good thing. And then we also got a great number of individuals who decided they were ready to up their numbers that they originally invested. And so I'm going to ask those to at least get the NDA forms completed with your numbers, so Dana in her office can get an updated list of where we are based on those numbers. And then we do have, as Kirk was saying earlier, we do have a meeting or 2 with individuals who I believe in my heart would come in and make up the shortfall. And any investment dollar you make, you would definitely reap the benefits of this. And this is one of the reasons we want to bring every player that's a part of this entity to the table, to let you know that this is not a Walter and Ruby August production. Because if that was so, the only thing you're going to get is probably a 2,000 square foot mobile home. And so, no, it's way beyond us in the church. And so this is going to happen. We're so glad that you're here. We do have a couple of questions, but before I do that, Ms. Laura Whitley, I'd like for you to come, and you're always a great benefactor along with your credit union. So come and share and say hello. And this is Ms. Laura Whitley. She is the president in the marketing department over at TDECU.
Thank you so much, Pastor August, and good evening, everyone. It's exciting to be here. We've had some meetings about this project over the last few months, and it's wonderful to be back here at Bethel's and to see the progress that has been made, and certainly to hear directly from the other professionals that are working on this. I've been in Houston for more than 20 years, raised my children and family here, and not too far over in Third Ward, and to see investment, in our community like this, and it's just personally very exciting. From the credit union's perspective, this is really what we're about. Credit unions are about people helping people. We were founded over 70 years ago with a group of workers from Dow that really came together to help one another be able to buy a refrigerator, and it's grown up from there. We do quite a bit. We're able to do quite a bit within communities because of the way that we're structured. It was interesting to hear about the structure of this project because we don't have customers or account holders. We have members. And so everyone who has an account is a member because we're a nonprofit financial cooperative. And that means that our shareholders aren't in New York or overseas. They're here in this community. It means that we have local ownership and local control, which is here in the greater Houston area as well. And it allows us to take some of the profits that the credit union earns and put them back into the credit union for the benefit of our members to help keep rates high for savings and low for lending, and to also help serve the community, and certainly have enjoyed doing that here with Bethel's. And we do have a commercial. We're a little larger than your average Bayer credit union. We're almost $5 billion in assets. We're the largest state chartered credit union and the largest credit union in Houston. So that does allow us to do some things like commercial lending projects, which is not something maybe a typical credit union you may have heard of doing. We operate in that respect more like a smaller mid-sized bank. So we're excited to engage and be here, and thank you so much for the opportunity. And looking forward, one piece about the equity and sort of that mix, we do have, if you will, there has to be a loan to value. So that's what Herc was talking about. So we have a certain percentage of equity within a project that has to exist in order for us to be able to fund, approve the loan. And every project is unique, and it goes through a full underwriting process. If you ever bought a home or built anything, you know what I'm talking about. And so this project is not unique, and everything will be examined on its own merit. But certainly the more capital, the more funding investment that exists, the lower loan to value there is, and it certainly helps those deals as well. So thank you so much again for the opportunity, and thank you, Pastor August. Yes, sir.
Before you have, thank you so much for that, but I do have a question that's going to kind of raise.
Okay, hopefully I can answer.
The question came in, what kind of equity instruments will be received to represent an investor? Because that's been one of the biggest questions in our dialogue, is that whether they can roll over some of their money out of Roth or 401k based on what systems y'all have in place to receive their dollars in the investment pool for deposits.
So what kind of I got it. So cash. We like cash. No. We all do. I think we have not gone into the specific, types of investments that we'd account towards that equity, but I think we can. That's a great next step in that conversation, and I can bring that back with more detail. But essentially, the idea would be that everything would be kept in an account with the credit union, and would just safeguard just like all of our other members' accounts. In this respect, the entity that's created would be the member.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
The other thing, family, and I shared with you guys before, is that when it comes down to your investment dollars, everything that is invested is going directly to the bank. And one of the other processes are, before an invoice is paid on that project, of course, TDECU have their own individuals that go out there and make sure that the work has already been taken care of before they cut a check. So it's not 3 or 4 people writing checks and trying to figure out who paid for what and why. They have their own accounting system to make sure whatever dollar goes out, that work has already been performed, and not just performed, but performed well.
To a certain extent.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not, within that process, the entire loan amount, it isn't really, it's actually in sections, and so it's not all at once is how it works. There are certain controls that are in place to make sure that at the end of the whole process it can close, and there's not any other liens or things like that because that are existing.
So I can speak to that. So
Yeah.
The process, first one was all against the equity portion. We have to spend the equity portion of the funds first before the bank will start funding the project. So the process will be, if once we start incurring costs on the project, which is we're building the project, the subcontractors, vendors, and so forth will submit their invoices. We'll put together a withdrawal package, which we'll submit to the bank. So for the first maybe 3 months, maybe 4 months, the bank will just approve and send their inspector out just to verify the work is done. All those funds will be drawn from the equity. Once we exhausted the equity portion, that is when the bank will start funding from the debt portion. So I just want to be clear, your funds, the equity portion is not going to sit there for the 4 years. It's not. We will exhaust the equity first before we dip in the debt portion. And regarding the waivers and so forth, so each period we submit a bank draw, we also have to submit unconditional and conditional waivers. If not, the bank will not fund, because we want to make sure there are no liens filed against the project. If there's a lien filed against the project because we haven't been paying our bills, then the bank is not going to fund. Each month, the bank will do a title search. If the title search comes back and it's dirty, meaning that there's a lien against the property, the bank will not fund, because the bank cannot fund. I think your protocols would not allow you to fund. Okay, so I just want to be clear about our process.
Question. Now we'll go ahead and get this Q&A out of the way, family, right quick. But thank you so very much. This is easy. The legal structure through which the building will be owned and operated after construction is done. And the attorney Taylor shared earlier, there are 2 entities that's set up, in one LLC and then a nonprofit. It's not owned by the church, it's owned by the operation of the business. And it's made up of different entities because there's a firewall between the church. The church is only an investor based on the land donation that we put in. And so it's a total separate, and then the property will be managed by a third party that's not connected to nothing within the context of our investors or the church overall. That will also be spelled out when Attorney Taylor give you full disclosure forms, because I think the document that you're going to get is about 35 pages long. And it will cover everything from every entity to make sure you know from top to bottom who owns it, how it operates, how your investment returns come to you. The other question that came in that I know as we were processing last year, we were thinking about, if you keep your funds in after the 4-year construction, what returns would you get quarterly? Kirk, you said about 6.5, 6 3/4. Yep. But I know we were saying last year it'd be about 7, 7.5. So right now it's about 6.5% on a quarterly basis. You receive that from your initial investment overall. Other question set now. The the estimated value of the property once construction is done is about 70 mil, if I read correctly.
I think it's like $72 million.
$72 million, $49 million to build. When you do another appraisal on the completed property, $72 million, and it's out of that overage above the 49 million where the investment dollars are being paid out. That's exactly right. So we have that. And then it said, now is one elevator going to be enough in every building?
One per building.
One per building.
We're not required. That's more of like an amenity.
Okay, that's more of an amenity. It's not required. So one in every building. Okay. Can an investor be bought out of their invest by other investor if they have a need of funds? That's going to be a legal question, so you're going to find it in your legal documentation. Amen. I don't think nobody can just assume your responsibility. And so, but I'm sure the attorney is going to have that earmarked probably in small print. You better read everything. Okay, I think we covered that one. Yes, the easiest thing for those who are not on the email list to catch the Zooms or the updates, Ms. Dana Collins is here, and you can definitely get with Ms. Dana Collins, or you can go ahead and text me. Can you get that for me? You can go ahead and text me, and I'll make sure you get the Zoom link for all communication and all of our future meetings overall. The gates and security.
We will have.
We will have some gates, and we will have security.
Yes.
At every entry point and vehicular gates, yes.
And the units also will come pre-wired with unit security.
And the units themselves will be pre-wired with security for every unit. So it's going to be built in. Okay. Okay, we covered. Keypad entry in every unit, yes.
Each tenant would have to activate the service. We'll provide infrastructure. It's up to each tenant if they want to have security.
Yeah, but then you got to go ahead and call your security company and get them to monitor it, and then you got that monthly bill. Amen. And this is, what if a natural disaster happens during the construction period? That's easy.
So for construction, and this is a requirement by any bank, it doesn't matter which bank it is, we will need to provide builder's risk.
Builder's risk insurance.
And so builder's risk insurance is based on providing the value of the property, replacing the value of the property. That includes rents, lost rents. So part of the process with the builder's risk, we have to tell them what is the value, estimated value per day if we, fire, hurricane, or whatever the case may be. So at the end of the day, they have to make us whole. So, hopefully, that doesn't happen. But if it does, we'll have builder's risk insurance. And builder's risk is not cheap, especially here in Houston because it's a coastal region. It's very expensive. But we do have, we're carrying the cost for the builder's risk. And if there's a fire, if there's a natural disaster, we'll pay the deductible, and the builder's risk will cover the replacement costs, including lost rents.
Did the architect team mention technology, smart device compatibility?
We will have smart locks at the unit entries. That will be a standard feature. We will, I don't know what else smart devices we'll have.
So we have data and internet connections, right? We have USB outlets, but there's really no data required inside the unit except for the entry.
So it will be
Electronic lock. Electronic lock, right?
Yeah, we'll have electronic locks. It's kind of similar to the locks you see at hotels. And so you'll have a key fob. The key fob will get you into the common areas as well as the units. The toll tag, most likely the toll tag will be used to get you through the gates. Will be an AT&T community. And one thing that we haven't discussed, we're just not there yet, we'll probably do bulk internet service. So it's more of a plug and play. You sign a lease, you show up, your lease start today, you just plug, play, you don't have to do anything. It will be covered by the community. You just pay like I don't know, whatever the fee will be. The same thing for water. We'll have a sub-meter in the units. Yeah, you'll have a sub-meter in the unit, and we'll just bill you for, or the community will bill you for your water. Other than that, that is correct, yes. Each unit will have a separate meter, so each person will have to call, or each tenant will have to call and request their electric service. Beyond that, I mean, it's just energy compliant appliances. Each unit will have a washer and dryer. Energy Star, yes. So each unit will have I think that's probably better than any competition around here. You will have your own private laundry room in your unit. So I'm not sure what else. I mean, the community, the clubhouse area will have nice gym equipment, Cecily. So beyond that, yeah. Yeah, we'll have, in the courtyards, we'll have speakers. If you're working out, you can connect to the fitness equipment, and with your own music, hopefully you're wearing headphones and you're not disturbing the person next to you. But the clubhouse, the amenity areas is where we will see some sort of technology.
And then this one here, I kind of like this one here, and the answer is yes off the top. Now, I know many of you might represent groups of individuals, but as a real estate wholesaler, will investors in the project be able to recruit others, investors, within the compliance of the NDA? The short answer is yes. Because right now, all hands are on deck. So if you have others within your family or friends or part of your network, your sorority group, your fraternal groups, your business groups, that want to come to the table and say, listen, we want to get a part of this, right now, the answer is yes. Get with us quickly, because once we get to that cap, that's going to be the end of the investment invitation for this project. So yes, by all means. I think I covered all the questions that I received. That someone put a question out that I didn't address. I want to make sure I did. Is that one in your hand?
I had that first question, but I think I stated it wrong.
Okay.
What I wanted to know is, what do we have in our hands to prove that we are an investor in the project? That's what I think, an instrument that
Oh, by all means. And that's what the attorney is working on, disclosure form. You will have a whole packet, just like you're actually going to the bank and you're purchasing a car. You're going to have enough paperwork to prove that you are a part owner as an investor, because we want to make sure that you're very comfortable. You're not going to get a receipt with my signature on it to say that you're an investor. No, ma'am. That's why, matter of fact, let me just share this. We have actually, outside of our network, and this is why it was so very important for me and our church, we hired 3 separate attorneys to work together on putting together the whole disclosure package. From this, Michelle Taylor, Attorney Taylor, she's a state attorney. And then we also have one that actually ties into the federal government, because we want to make sure we were totally compliant with state, national, and federal laws. So when you get your packet, you're going to be good. I promise you.
Also, each investor each month, once we get further along the process, we'll receive monthly updates. Once we break ground, you guys will receive construction photos. You will receive copies of where we are as far as budget is concerned. At the end of the day, we don't want to have budget overruns. And as investors, that's one of the things that I'll be most concerned about. So each month we'll share that information with you. Usually it's about 25, 30 pages. And, we'll be very detailed. So each month you can expect to see updates of where we are, when we're projecting to finish the project, if we're getting any kind of bites on leases and so forth. So that will be part of the process.
one of the things I was kind of smiling about, I need to let all of you know, as an investor, you do not have a right to show up on the construction site and run around and go tell Kirk Hutchinson what he should be doing or what he's missing. Everybody needs to stay in their lane. You're an investor. The work, we got inspectors that would come in to make sure that the work is being done. But it's going to be an exciting journey for you. And I know many of you, this is your first time investing in something like this. I'm going to also encourage you, like we always do some more homework for yourself. We want you to be totally comfortable in what you're doing. And the reality of us, based on where we are, we're going to make sure we put our best foot forward, because the only thing we really have, and this is the honest truth, is our name. You can have billions of dollars in the bank, but if your name is nothing, you are nothing. And so we're going to do everything we can to safeguard the name of what we're doing here within the body of Christ, our personal names, and the name of the project. So when people see what we do, I pray that this group here, I pray that down the road, this is only our first project. That's my prayer. This is our first project, and we're going to do it well. Let's hit the ball completely out of the park. We did venture out to San Antonio a couple months ago. Many people in here went with us to look at some of the work that Kirk is working on in San Antonio. We visited 2 properties, very impressed with his knowledge and his background on how long he's been building, and then the engineering team, the banking team, the legal team. We have an A team. Now, it's time to lock them doors. No, I'm kidding. Are there any other questions? Because I want to make sure that we can conclude kind of early tonight. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know how to really say this, but with the Houston flooding all the time,
Yes, ma'am.
how will the investors be protected?
Well, the good thing about this region here, we are not in a flood plain at all.
The civil engineer is right here. He can answer that question for you.
Property is in the 500-year floodplain, and we have to be 2 feet higher. So there's a lot of safety.
And the other good thing about it, even the flood of Harvey in 2017, this building didn't take on any water, and our property is pretty decent in the area of other things that have happened, whether it's the hurricanes or whether it's out of our control. But nothing is guaranteed, but that's why we have to get insurance, and insurance take care of those pieces. Yes, ma'am. No, that's what Michelle Taylor. Mrs.
It's a
Taylor,
legal structure.
It's really an organizational operation. Ms. Taylor, I don't know if you caught the question, but they just wanted to know on the 2 organizations that you have set up. Can you go ahead and explain the reasons why? And then also that third one, that's the nonprofit. Well, matter of fact, I can email you something. As a matter of fact, once we get through with this meeting here, everything they sent to us, we will also send to you. The other thing, for all of you who are actually in our email distribution, we did send you the presentation to your email. So you can always refer back to that. You can always contact Kirk Hutchinson on his phone. He's available, approachable. And also, if there's any particular questions that you might have concerning your investment, we can make sure you talk to the right people. But give us, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, we'll do an all-out Zoom and bring all the updates possible to all of you. And then by that time, my prayer would be that all the entities, including the bank account, has been opened, so we can have you go ahead and at least bring in your 1/4 of your investment dollars to the table. Oh, got one more? if you pull out, if you can cut into your investment out year 5 or more, how long will it take to get your money out? If I'm reading this correctly, it says, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you go past the 4-year marker, you're in your 5th year and you decide to let your money ride, and you decide you want to take your money out, what is that process? Well, I can't really give you that process right now until all the legal documents have been put in place. And it's going to spell out everything from A to Z. So I'm not sure how to address this at this moment, but in your documents you have to sign. That's why you need to read every page and understand it. It's going to address your questions when it comes to this. Yes, ma'am.
I have another question. So if, when you get those documents, is that what we're calling the NDA?
No, the NDA was just something to help us to at least get a level of your seriousness to the party. When you get your legal documents, my sister, you're going to be inundated with paperwork and 30 pages, 35 pages, everything you need, I promise you, you're going to be able to get. And again, the confidence is you're not writing a check to any fly-by-night operation. You're not putting your money in a startup bank or a credit union. This is an established entity that's been around for years. Your money will be secure. Yes, sir. Yeah, I saw your hand.
No, what I was going to ask, the new paperwork that you said is coming?
Yes, sir.
Is it going to supersede the NDA?
Oh, yes, sir. 100%. The NDA is just something we kicked off, so let's go ahead and test the water to see who's serious. And the other reason the NDA went out, we wanted to make sure initially that we were giving it to people who were serious because we didn't want it all over the world, because part of the process of this, we were doing things in small pockets of confidentiality. And we wanted to make sure that we wasn't having somebody speaking on behalf of this project that wasn't totally in the know. So that's why that NDA was signed. Am I correct about that?
That's right, that's right.
Well, listen, it's been a very informative night. I know many of you got to get up early in the morning
Put the kids to bed.
to go back and make some more investment dollars. So I'm going to have you stand if y'all don't mind, and I'm going to pray us out. Thank y'all so very much. But Heavenly Father God, we just thank you again, God, for everything tonight. We thank you for those who traveled near and far to be here, and those who worked behind the scenes to make this night this great success. We thank you, Lord, for those who prepared food for us and served us tonight. And thank you for all the other entities in between. Now, Father, as we move forward, we ask for wisdom. We ask for more knowledge. We ask even for a greater understanding. And Father, we're going to thank you right now in advance that this project is already done. It's in Jesus' name we pray, and we say amen.